One of the things that you touched on, I thought is really important, is that there is a big emphasis in the NAR to do all of these miracles, signs, and wonders, to cast out demons and do all these great exploits. And if you're not doing those things, then you're just not a, some people will even say, some of these leaders will say, you're not even a Christian. You're not really on fire for God. You don't really know God. If you don't hear God's voice on your own, then you just don't know him as you should. And that really perpetuates what you're talking about in this guilt, shame, condemnation. And I know of people that have even dealt with that coming out of it, is now they're starting to understand biblical truths, but still there is this looming legalism that really is part of that movement of telling you, if you don't do enough, then you really don't know God. And then they're looking at their lives and they're going, okay, while I was in this, I struggled. I don't know how many times I've heard the proverbial hamster wheel. And that's how I felt. And I didn't even realize it. You're on a proverbial hamster wheel. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And people that are in deliverance ministry, oh, I've got to get to this person so they can help me get this next demon cast out, or I've got to break this generational curse and I've got to do this. And it becomes very legalistic in its way, and it's tiresome. It wears people down. But I do know of people that have come out of this and they're struggling. They're still struggling because they think, God doesn't love me because I haven't done all these things. And that is a lie from the enemy. Because then again, it's not resting in the sufficiency of what Christ has done. And that's not to say, Dave and I are not saying you don't do things, because we're not saved by good works, but we're saved for good works. Ephesians 2:10 reminds us of that. So God is working in us, and we do participate in our sanctification. But at the same time, there's a peace. I think you would agree with this, Dave. There's a peace that we have in God, of resting in the sufficiency of what Christ has done on the cross for us, and then resting in knowing day by day that he is walking with us. He's helping us by his Spirit. His word helps us. And there's a grace that we should be continuing to understand and to walk in our relationship. And if we're having these moments of dealing with this constant condemnation and this constant barrage of accusations and things, then we need to be aware of that spiritual warfare and remember what Christ did and go back to the Word for proper understanding so that we continue to be built up in our faith.